Welcome, Michael Wickerson here with a quick overview of a new series that I'm very passionate about, and I'm going to call it Data-Driven Design, Machine Learning with the ghPython remote node into Grasshopper for Rhino3D. So what I've done is in past videos, I've allowed us to go in here and get the ghPython node up and running with all of these libraries, basically focusing on NumPy, Matplot libraries, scikit-learn, and SciPy. Pandas, of course, as well. You can see an example of one of those files opened up here, and then a very simple script. The biggest thing I'm trying to make is after getting this up and running, I wanted to have an examples of how you could actually use, find a way to take data from arrays and put it into lists and tree data, so you can use that in Grasshopper. I wanted you to be able to go into sites like this backache dataset from CMU and use it as a Boolean calling pattern or dispatch pattern on a very interesting script, and then be able to pull it, like I said, from to a list into a tree. After that's done, I've written a very simple, because I've gone directly to a very simple script that I've really jazzed up a little bit with ranges, but it's a Python script down here that I'm pretty proud of. It's a one-liner that allows me to build my own masks for taking grids, which is basically what this does. Takes a grid, finds the data, cleans the data, produces circles, dispatches according to our data, which comes out of the backache, and generates these patterns, which then can be separated and extended as a piece of geometry. This geometry, of course, is irrelevant to that data, except it's driven by that data, but it shows the power of working that. And then I will go on to full detail of Chapter 4, dealing with NumPy to start, deal with scalars, deal with how to build arrays to start, scalars, vectors, and then move into multidimensional arrays before we then go on to try to process more complex streams of data in Panda and in scikit-learn. I'm having a little trouble with scikit-learn downloading and getting access through Python 2.7 and 3.0 works a lot better for that, but I'm having no problem with my pandas to keep those scripts. I didn't mean to click that one. I meant to go in and grab this one here. I'm having no problem grabbing data from certain websites and processing it. What you'll see is some slicing, and you'll see some data manipulation that has to be learned. And what this is a real focus in on. Let me close that out. It's running the data every time I click OK. It's trying to process it all through the pattern again because it's running it, and because it's got a little longer output. Usually I save all of my extrusions for working in the Rhino environment, but this is an incredibly powerful tool as we start to look at what we can do. And I will continue through this chapter, and this will be the machine learning one. And then I'll also be taking a look at data science, and I'll be looking at the one-liners again to jazz this up and make it more interesting. So that's it in a nutshell. It's very exciting. I'm happy to say I can wrap my mind around it and process data, and certainly I'll be able to do data manipulation better as a kind of artistic data scientist and creative into what I'm trying to do. For those that want to follow this series, it'll be data-driven design with a focus on machine learning, but definitely a focus on the ghPython remote in Grasshopper for Rhino3D. And even though they've kind of stopped the blog on that a year ago, when I actually was really getting into it, I think I still can continue, and I can take things past what you see in Jupyter notebooks. Now, it may be more, like I said, artistic, but it could certainly tie to abstract sculptures, jewelry, architecture, and the like. And I can actually generate, I believe, its own kind of learning, machine learning, when it comes to what would be next or what would be prescribed next from data. Okay, thanks very much for watching. That's it in a nutshell.